Assalamualaikum dear students. So today we are going to discuss about the structure of the heart. The heart is the pumping organ which pumps the blood in our body. And if we talk about its location, it is present in the thoracic region. Thoracic region. And it is enclosed in our ribs because ribs are there to prevent the heart, to protect the heart. Then the if we talk about its size, then it is equal to the size of our clenched fist. Equal to the size of our fist. And now suppose this is the heart. And as we have already studied that it has 4 chambers. Right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and the left ventricle. And we know that there are the valves inside the heart. There are 2 valves. This valve is known as tricuspid valve, and this valve is known as bicuspid valve. Now we know that heart is surrounded by two layers, and these 2 layers are known as pericardium. Now these layers of the tissues actually prevents the heart from expanding, because when heart pumps with greater force, so these pericardial layers actually prevent the heart, and there is the liquid inside these 2 pericardial layers. This liquid is known as pericardial fluid. Pericardial fluid. What does this pericardial fluid do actually? This pericardial fluid decreases the friction, because when heart beats, there are chances that they could produce a friction. So this pericardial fluid is there to reduce the friction. Now we know that this bicuspid valve is also known as mitral valve. Mitral valve. Then why do we call it bicuspid? Because bi means 2 and cuspid means flaps. So because this valve contains 2 flaps, that is why it is known as bicuspid valve. And this bicuspid valve is attached to the thread-like structures which are known as cardiac tendon, And same is the case with the tricuspid valve. Why do we call it tricuspid valve? Tri means three and cuspid means flaps. So because tricuspid valve has three flaps, that is why this is known as tricuspid valve. Then we discussed that valves are there to prevent the blood from the backflow. For example, if blood comes into the right ventricle, then right ventricle prevents the blood from moving back to the right atrium, because there are chances that blood can flow to the right atrium, but because of these valves, the blood can never flow back. Here is the septum or separation that you can see in the mid or the center of the heart, which separates the right and left side of the heart. This separation is known as median septum. And the second thing is that we should understand that we know ventricles are going to transport the blood to the body organs. Say for example, if we see the right ventricle, its valves are thicker because this right ventricle is going to transport the blood to the lungs. But on the other hand, we talk about the valves of this left ventricle, then left ventricle's valves are more thicker compared to the right ventricle, because left ventricle transports the blood to other body organs with greater force. So because it requires greater force, so that is why its valves are thicker. Now, if we discuss about the mode of action of the heart, we have discussed that from the whole body, other body organs other than the lungs, the blood, deoxygenated blood comes into the right atrium, and from right atrium, the blood moves to the right ventricle. We discussed it earlier. Now, in right ventricle, there are valves which are known as tricuspid valve, and here is the valve which is known as bicuspid valve. Now what happens actually, right atrium and left atrium, both atrium contract at the same time and transport the blood to the left ventricle and right ventricle, both these ventricles. When blood comes into the left ventricle, then what happens? These ventricles contract, and when these ventricles contract, these two valves, tricuspid and bicuspid, they are closed. Because of the closing of these two valves, a sound produces which is known as love. Love sound produces when these two valves are closed. And why do they close? Because they protect the backflow of the blood and these valves are closed when these ventricles contract, and contraction of the ventricles is known as systole. And because of this systole, these valves are closed and produce a sound of lung. We can hear it with when we hear the sound of the beating of the heart. And after that, when these ventricles contract, the blood flows to the other body organs. Suppose there are the veins, and veins contain the semilunar bones. Semilunar walls. So, because of the relaxation of the semilunar of the ventricles, when ventricles relax, there are chances that blood can flow back to the heart again. But these semilunar walls are closed and blood cannot flow back to the heart. This closure of semilunar walls produces the sound of dub. And dub sound is produced when these ventricles relax and these semilunar valves are closed. So because these ventricles relax, the relaxation of the ventricles is known as diastole. And this systole and this diastole actually produces the blood pressure in our body. We will be discussing the blood pressure